Hello, everyone, and welcome to Adobe Live. My name is Anna McNaught, and I will be your host today. And today I am joined by one of my good friends and the very talented Sasha Vinogradova. Sasha, welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me again. And this is so weird, but also amazing that now you host in Adobe Live. I'm loving it.
I know. A little backstory with Sasha and I, we both met when we were guests in San Francisco on Adobe Live and immediately connected, became good friends and had a lot of fun together. And I am just always blown away by Sasha's work and seeing everything that she's up to. So I'm very excited to be hosting you today.
Yeah, really cool to be here again.
Yes. And welcome everyone into the chat. Thank you all for being here with us. Nice to see Sam and Steve and Robert. Welcome everyone. And if you're joining us over on YouTube, welcome as well. If you want to join in on the chat where I can see it and feed anything over to Sasha, I know our moderators will be bringing questions over, but if you want to talk directly to us, hop over on Behance. Whatever you prefer, YouTube, Behance, up to you. Just a quick reminder, don't forget to start every day this week with the Photoshop Creative Challenge with Paul Tranny. That's 9 a.m. Pacific time. You can tune in and try out some new Photoshop prompts and just tune up your skills a little bit. And I know that is something that I am planning on doing as well. So, Sasha, I know that you have a lot of amazing things in store for us today and tomorrow. So I will just toss it over to you and you can let us know what we'll be working on.
Cool. So again, guys, thank you so much for being here. Today, I wanted to share with you or one of the works which already was pre-composited, and we're going to walk through it step by step, hopefully learn some new techniques. And tomorrow we will sort of improvise. Me and Anna will just throw a question into the chat about what you want to make, and we will use Adobe Stock photos and composite something random, hopefully on like surreal theme. So if you have some thoughts for tomorrow, keep it handy.
Yes.
But today, my favorite theme, like, girls, plants, dead and alive. So, familiar subjects.
Yes. I'm super excited because I remember the time we met, you did something similar with vines, and it's, I think, since gone viral and has been reshared without credit. And so,
oh yeah,
but that's one of my favorite pieces, and I learned a lot from you that day. So I know I'm super excited.
So I'm doing kind of something similar ever since I wanted to make something like this again. In the same vibe, and that's what we're going to do. And one of the things, I actually have this layered file somewhere as a link, which is going to be shared somewhere at some point. So if you want to follow along, hopefully that link will appear somewhere in the chat. Let's dive into it.
Sounds good.
Cool. So if you saw some of my previous streams, some of my previous processes, I start every artwork with a sketch. Sketch is essential. Like I just can't say enough how important sketch is. Like when I used to just starting my career, I used to love to jump into things without any sketches. And sometimes it's good when you just, sort of playing around. But if you want to make a good artwork, you got to start with a sketch. So actually, with this one, I started with a photo. So I'm sorry, some water.
No worries.
So I knew my theme, I knew my subject. So the first thing I did, I jumped on Adobe Stock, and I have already some libraries which I collected earlier and just picked one of photos I really liked. I really like this particular photo because, you know, it had this very soft lighting and the color palette was great. And I instantly thought that, hey, if I'll add some black, pink to it, it might be a great balance. So after I found this photo, I started sketching. And when you start sketching, it might be super, super rough. Like this was my very initial sketch. As you can see, it's very crappy. One of the things I liked about this photo, it instantly made me think about one of the photo shoots I did earlier. So as you might know, I do lots of book covers. And because of that, I have like libraries and libraries of random things like, you know, swords, flowers, blood, you know, just like everything you need for a fantasy book cover. I did this photo session with just roses. And I thought that would be a great spot to use it. And what's also cool in this particular shoot, I had some like black flowers, like black, dry, dead flowers. So I thought that would be an interesting gradation if I start like on top. I'll start with the very beautiful fresh flowers, and on the bottom where we also have this black shirt, there will be dry, dead flowers. The first thing let's start from the very beginning. Let's hide all those previous layers into one group, which is I can do with clicking Control-G, which creates a group. And I'll call it original. And we will start with our background. So one thing, as you might know, I do a lot. I use 3D in my work. And for this one, I decided to combine my photo as a base, flowers as a photography, and I rendered my lines. So pretty much like this is something which I pre-rendered before, just following my earlier sketches. So as you can see, I started from this very, very crappy sketch. Then I kind of moved a little bit into placing. And that's one of the reasons I said sketches were important. Like here, I started grouping my flowers and realized, hey, this is too busy. The eye just goes everywhere. So like seeing this, I realized I needed to reduce number of flowers. That was the step after that, where I used less flowers than the previous sketch, and I kind of figured out the flow of my wines. So in here, I pretty much rendered those wines. And what's really cool about 3D, you can not only render the image itself, you can also render shadows. So I kind of approximately modeled the shape of the girl, really, really roughly. I created those lines and I rendered both lines and shadows. But honestly, like I did this step in 3D. It's not necessarily something you must do the same. Like it was faster for me, but like if I didn't have 3D available, I would just go with Photostock and photography. one thing to be aware, every time you pick any compositing element or you create a 3D element for your compositing, I keep repeating it, lighting is essential. You have to have matching lighting. Like some people can paint the light, but I always still find it kind of illustrative. If you have a soft lighting on your main base, like here, the first thing I do, I analyze light. Hey, this is a soft box lighting. You look at the shadow. So you look at the shadows, and Anna probably knows it instantly because she's a photographer. But you can see that the light is coming this way because we have a little bit of shadow. It's very soft. And that's why I thought that my Photoshoot worked but for this particular, yes, because same deal. The soft light shadows, soft lighting. And one thing you might see that in my case, the lighting coming from opposite direction. So I show you later, but I had to flip every flower to match lighting on my photo. So I never try to force lighting. You just save yourself so much time if you just don't do that.
Absolutely. A couple quick questions for you from the chat. Sam is wondering what 3D program you use, and Paul is interested in rendering shadows in Cinema 4D. Is that a render setting? He asks.
Yes. So I use Cinema 4D and either Redshift or Arnold as a renderer, but you can use anything. Like seriously, you can use Blender, you can use 3ds Max, you can use Maya. All 3D software kind of can do similar things. And yes, the shadows rendered in Cinema 4D, it's called shadow matte material, where you can just apply that material on the object, and it will catch the shadows. And you can even say, hey, can you use background photo as my base, or you can render it with transparency like I did here. So this is my shadow layer. Obviously it's white right now, but I'm going to use it as an alpha. So when I'm like composite it right, I will just click on selection and will create adjustment layer with a mask from that selection, and then I can use it as my shadow. We will go through it in a second. But cool. If you have any questions, please ask away. This is why we're here. So hopefully we all can learn something.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So let's place it correctly. So I want to make sure that my my lighting and so I'm going to bring it again because I'm not sure that they matched. So okay, now I know they match, and let's place it on our object, on our model. So it will not match perfectly. It is almost perfect, as you can see, but I would have to adjust some elements. So I'm going to hide the shadows for now. I'm going to only grab those lines in here, and as you can see, I would have to extend some of them to to work better with our composition. So this is a little boring, but working in Photoshop, you always get to the boring part. That's where you turn on TV show or music and just do it.
Exactly. All the tedious things.
Yes. So it's a smart object. I want to rasterize it. Yes, I do. And I want to grab my stamp tool. I
Marsha is wondering what the
Hi,
lighting.
Marsha. I'm so happy you are here.
Yeah, welcome, Marsha. Nice to see you. She's wondering what the lighting for the rose shot was. Is it a softbox?
Oh yeah, I had for the roses, I had two light boxes, one soft one and another. They both soft. One is more intense than another. So I not often do photo shoots, but when I do, I always prefer my lighting to be not flat, and so for that, you want one source to be stronger than another. So
yeah.
So as you can see, I just grabbed my stamp tool. I'm using this soft round pressure size brush, and I turn it on a current layer only. So when I extending my wines here, it only involves this layer. So as you can see, nothing below it is affected because of that check mark current layer. Like as soon as I switch it to all layers and try to do the same, you can see it picks up information from all layers, and we don't want that.
Yeah.
Go away. Okay.
So Sasha, maybe while you work on a little of these boring parts, you can talk about some of the cool jobs you've had. I mean, you have an incredible history of work, and I'm sure the audience would love to hear about that if you're willing to share.
Oh yeah, I consider myself super lucky. You know, especially the last 2 years were crazy for, so many of us, and I feel like it brought so much uncertainty in everyone's life, but it also brought lots of opportunities. So I had lots of changes in my life. So one of the things you guys, I don't know if you know or not, I used to work, I came here to United States. I worked in key art industry. I started in the key art industry, did some posters. I actually very proud that one of the latest posters I did was for House of the Dragon.
Wow.
Yeah. And did Homecoming season 2. And some like the Crown TV show. And then I decided that, hey, this is awesome, but I felt like I learned what I wanted to learn. And I always loved 3D. So I wanted to explore a career where I can use my 3D skills more often. So I applied to a company called The Mill. It's one of the honestly best post-production companies in the world. They do lots of TV show titles, advertising, like when you watch Super Bowl, like Super Bowl advertising, there's like at least 10 advertisements done by Mill. So
wow.
Yeah, and they have amazing like stuff and amazing artists. So I worked there for quite some time, learned lots. Like I felt like that was the best educational experience I ever had, because like every person was so knowledgeable, and it was very impressive, like people I had a chance to work with.
Yeah, and that's incredible.
Yeah, it's like I feel like, I do not miss commute or working in the office. but that particular experience was very important part of like who I am right now as an artist, because it was great learning. Yeah, and then COVID started, and amazingly, Apple reached out, and I had a chance to work with them as a creative director in their, not creative director. I'm sorry. Art director.
So amazing.
Still room to grow. But yeah, as an art director in the Apple TV department, which was really fun. So kind of going back to key art world, but also using the same knowledge I learned at the mill, like motion design. So that was fun. And recently, for the last maybe 7 months, I was working for a company called Parallel, which is I don't like saying just like it's an NFT company. It's not, it uses NFT, but it's a game company. So I'm making card art. So every week I need to deliver coherent artwork. And I love that place because I have all the freedom I ever dreamt about. So no office hours. I can do whatever I want. And I have the best teammates again. And we all actually kind of all over the world. It's actually a Canadian company, and I have coworkers in like France, Spain, Malaysia, like obviously Canada, and so many different places. And it's really fun and creative, and a second of self-promotion, wanted to show what I was doing for that. So
yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. Always blown away by everything you do.
So what I was really happy to explore in this last job, as you can see, this is all like very character heavy, and this is like I always wanted to explore that. So yeah, that's where I am now, and parallel with that, I also, do my fantasy book covers.
Yes.
Which is just, one thing I can't give up. This is just too close to heart.
And you just do those as freelancing, right?
Yes.
That's so cool.
And as a huge book nerd myself, the best part about it, when you start working on a book cover and you get manuscripts before they actually come out.
Oh yeah.
And it's often like writers I really love, like, oh my God, I have a chance to read this book before everyone else.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yes. So that is my personal passion.
Yeah. With those last pieces that you showed that you've been working on recently, were they all made in 3D? They have such a painterly quality to them.
Yes, they were made in 3D, but like one thing I'm kind of exploring is how to make it more artistic. So yeah, I like to use 3D as a base, and then use a variety of techniques to make it more unique.
That's cool. Yeah, I've never seen work like yours. It's just always so inspiring. Everything that you share is like, it makes me want to just sit down and work. And when I see your stuff, I'm like, oh, Sasha is killing it again. I feel so inspired. I'm going to bust something out now too. And it's really great.
And I appreciate you saying this, but you are not the person who's supposed to say that. Like every time I see your work, I'm like, damn it, this is
oh, you're so sweet. I love you.
But it's also like, I feel like you have such a right balance, like life-work balance. You manage to make an awesome art, but you also manage to like have this like I don't know, like I feel like every artist dream of something like what you have, when you can just go on the road, do your amazing thing, do your photography, then come back to your beautiful house and just like, sit down and do some art.
So thank you so much. That really means a lot, because I definitely try to keep the art work life balance, and it has greatly increased my mental health and just overall life,
Yeah,
it's so important.
It's so important. I feel like for artists, the hardest thing is that work-life balance, because if you work all the time, you burn out. If you do not work enough, then you're constantly feeling guilty.
And yep. I definitely struggle with that guilt side of things. And I've just been trying to be like, it's okay. You don't need to feel guilty. It's so hard though.
Can we have like, I don't know, giant poster in every room saying you don't have to feel guilty?
Yes, that's perfect. Hang it over your bed when you take a nap. Like, you don't have to feel guilty that you're taking a nap. That's okay.
It's okay to travel. It's just a recharge.
Yep, exactly. And you need that, because then you create better work and you inspire more people.
Yeah. It's toughest thing to find that balance. So as you can see, I pretty much create a new layer. So you just click new layer, and then I clipped it into my group. Also kind of working a little backwards. As you can see, I grouped all my wines in here, and then everywhere I needed to erase them, I just created a mask to the group, and I was painting in that mask. So here you can see the spots where I had to like remove my extra lines. So yeah, you create just a layer on top, clip it with Alt. So when you click Alt and hovering over that layer, this icon appears. So you can clip it into this. And now I'm using just a black soft brush, creating this like spots of very soft ambient shadows, and also like especially places like this. I know it has to be much darker. And generally, I'm making my brush pretty big size, and I know the bottom part I want it a little darker. And let's incorporate our shadows. So I'm bringing my shadow layer here. I am holding Control, clicking on it, so the selection appears. Hiding my layer, going to adjustment layers, curves. And so as soon as I click curve while any selection is selected, it pretty much masks it. So anytime you want to paint some kind of shadow, you always can make selection before. So I just grab the lasso tool. Let's say you just make some selection, go to adjustment layer, click any adjustment layer, your selection becomes a mask. So those are my shadows. You do not see them because I didn't do anything yet. And as soon as I start manipulating my curves here, and we start seeing the shadows appearing.
They look so good and realistic.
Thank you. I really like using adjustment layers rather than colors for my shadows, because it's using the same colors as the, it just enhancing the colors of the artwork. So it looks a little bit more natural. And from here, I'm going to work on my mask layer rather than on the actual layer. So I have mask selected. I have black and white, black erases mask, and white draw masks. So as you can see here with white, this is drawing mask, this is erasing mask. So I'm going to erase spots where I kind of, when I see some discrepancies. And also I really like using this smudge tool with texture on it. So I can soft out, like I can make some edges softer. This is one of my favorite tools. So smudge tool recommended. Yep, and back to, grind, boring stuff.
I'm wondering if someone were to do this purely in Photoshop, they didn't do the 3D aspect of the vines. I know you've shown this a little bit on streams before, but what would be the best way to get these shadows? Would you maybe copy the vines and turn them into an adjustment layer and kind of do the same sort of thing you're doing now?
I'm glad you asked. Let's kind of pretend that this layer didn't exist. What I would do, so this is the layer of my wines. I'm going to convert it to a smart object. I am always converting things into smart objects. I don't like losing my, layers. With control, I would create copy of it. So what I did, I create a new layer. I have with control selected my wines, and I'm picking some crazy color and clicking Alt Backspace to fill it. So you do not see it, but I actually created the layer behind it. And from here, I either can, let's say, well, again, let's convert it to a smart object. Let's make a background underneath it. And I would go to filter and liquify. And from here, show backdrop. And let's see, what was the name of the layer? 61. Oh, it's so hard to find right name. Oh my God, that's when you know you need to name your layers.
Yep, you're as bad as me. I'm such a mess.
Here it is. Oh my God, sorry about that. And using this, actually, here 58. Okay, I like layer 58. So here you can kind of adjust your shadows. So I know when the wine touches the skin, you don't want shadow far away from it because that's the contact spot. But where it's far away from the skin, you know it has to be farther away from original object, sort of, like, if it makes sense. Does it make sense?
Yep, that makes perfect sense.
So here I'm sort of mimicking that, where just and then I'll be painting over a little bit more, but this is just
this is really interesting, and I think it's an important reminder for anyone who's creating, no matter what you're doing, whether it's in Photoshop, 3D, photography, anything, illustration, really studying how shadows behave in real life. And I think like you, Sasha, have such a great understanding of that. And that's how you know, oh, if it's touching the skin, the shadow is closer. If the vine is further away, the shadow is going to be further away. And just notice in your everyday objects what's happening in those shadows. And that will make you a way better creator.
100%. I'm like, where do I sign on that?
You get your stamp of approval.
and you know, it's like I was thinking recently where should I improve, like what should I learn next. And a couple years ago I was like, I need to learn this new software and stuff, and now I'm like, I should just take painting classes, because so much of it comes from just understanding the shape and like,
it's so true. The number of times that I reference back in my head or some of my notebooks to those foundation classes that I took in art school about shape and light and color and line and all those super basics, like bringing them back to the surface is really refreshing. It gives you a whole new appreciation and understanding of what you're doing.
100%. I also been thinking about it a lot recently and thinking of like how unappreciative I was of all the stuff I learned. I was like,
yes,
who knows that? Who needs that? Computers will do it for you. Like,
yep.
No.
100%. I know. It's like, it's so funny. And then when you're learning those things, you're like, this is so boring and basic. I want to learn the good stuff.
Yep. And so now I'm just using smudge, again, my favorite smudge brush. And here, as you can see, going like when it's a little farther away from the skin, the shadow is softer. And when it's closer to the skin, it's sharper. So I know this is incredibly boring, but I would do this sort of thing throughout. And then pretty much when I'm done, this is the mask. This is the shadow mask. And then I would use it as my selection. So with control, clicking on it again, hiding it, adjustment layer, curves, and here we go. There are some shadows.
Nice.
So see, like here I worked on it a little bit more, here I didn't. So here it looks too sharp, not right, but it looks much better in here. So shadows require work, so don't skip it.
Definitely. Yeah. Thank you for showing that, because I know some of us end up staying just in Photoshop. So it's good to see how to create those shadows.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Although these look way better.
I feel those looks better because, it just require, like, because all the hard work already been done. The Photoshop shadows can look as good. It just requires work. And
right. Yeah. And the smudge brush that you have been using, is that something that you made or found somewhere?
So I keep repeating it in like every stream I have. I've been using, if you just Google Sam.
Oh yeah, I remember you talking about this.
Yeah. So I've been using the same brushes for forever. He has great smudge tools.
Awesome.
How do you remember this? Anna, this was like how many years ago?
I know. I remember we had such good conversations about all the things that we need to have in our creative workflow and just about life in general. I had so much fun with you.
Same here. Did you get a tablet?
No.
Oh my God, Anna.
I was just thinking about that. I was like, I hope she doesn't ask about the tablet because that always comes up in every stream, no matter what. And so, yeah, I think I need to just do it. I do connect my iPad though, and use my iPad with my pencil.
Okay.
So
I can understand that.
Oh, I love that you know it so well.
This is just brutal. I'm like talking about life, work balance. That's one thing.
Yep. Yeah. So Sasha is just for reference for everyone. Sasha is referring to the fact that I don't have a tablet and I use my mouse or my trackpad, and it's very bad. And everyone makes fun of me for it, but I get my work done. But Sasha, what tablet do you have and what do you recommend to me and everyone who doesn't have one? Nice.
Wacom. I don't know how to say that right.
Me either.
Yes. I'm using Intuos, and this is A5. I tried A4. They're too huge. I just don't know where to put them on my desk. And some people swear by Cintiqs. I don't like Cintiqs, but you don't have to have the fanciest tablet in order to be able to just paint.
Yeah. It looks like Paul recommended the Cintiq, and Elizabeth said, I want one. And Paul said, nothing wrong with the way you work. Don't let anyone tech shame you. Thank you, Paul.
Though, if you try, there's no coming back.
I know. And I'm going to end up having major wrist problems. So I think I should probably figure something out. I just got a standing desk. So that was a start to my new setup and learning how to work properly and not sit on the couch with my laptop all crunched up.
Oh, wow. Dude, I just upgraded. I got a Herman Miller chair.
Yes.
I'm like, I'm working from home. You gotta have a good office at home.
Yep, absolutely. A chair is key.
Yeah, I just, felt some back issues. And as soon as I got a good chair, I'm like, oh, now I can sit 24 hours a day.
Yes, it's a great excuse, right?
So bad. Okay, when will we get to the flowers? This took me too long, but yeah. So let's just jump into, let's pretend I did this whole thing. Yes, totally did it. And let's see. So I click on the wines here, and just to go through what's been done. Okay, here's my shadow layer, the lines, this painted black on top. I added some curves on the sort of mimicking the shape. So I added extra, as you can see, here, where highlights are, lifted them a little bit more in the very bright areas. Removed yellow sort of here, removed yellow from my wines, desaturated it more. Here used some gradient map on this top part because I needed it to be brighter. More gradient map, and painted hair. Here I just took pretty much this brush, made it super small, and just painted some hair on top to incorporate it better, and added some more shadows. So those were wines, and then let's jump into the flowers. So I had this already kind of balance I wanted, but let's find the flowers. So as you can see, I had a huge photo shoot, but also original lighting, like out of box, looked like this. And I do some photo shoots at home, but I'm not a professional in this area. You're probably so much better at all the, photos, Lightroom stuff. I'm like alien to it. But one cool thing you kind of can do, you find a balance you want in the bridge, not in the bridge, when you drag photo into Photoshop. And it's, raw format, so 32-bit and stuff. So you'll get to, obviously, this part where you can adjust it the way you want. So you click done, and then cool thing, you can copy. So you go to develop settings, copy settings, and then you can paste those settings to your entire shoot.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it took me a second to figure it out. Do the thing. Yeah. Okay, so that was a huge time save to just do it once, and then
yeah,
bringing it all one by one, not bringing it all one by one, but doing it all. And then Paul will be so proud of me because I'm finally using some of the new features of Photoshop, not like, hey, 10 years, the same stuff over and over again.
Yep. That's me. I'm using all the old features, and then I have to remind myself, use some of the new stuff.
Yeah. Like every time in my head, Paul saying, but have you seen this feature? I'm like, yep. Damn it, Paul.
Exactly.
We know you know Photoshop, okay?
I hope he's still watching and hearing this, because it's so true. He always knows all the latest things. And
so, 5 years ago, I would have to go and cut it all out. Now, oh my God, like life became so much easier with the object selection tool. You're like,
boom,
done.
I actually haven't played with that too much because it didn't work on my old Mac. It was like too much for it to handle. And I haven't played with it in my new computer. And it's honestly such a game changer.
It is, especially like for Photoshoot, for, when you have thousands of pixels and like just white background. So that is, I actually have an entire, selection in here. Like I have a lot of PNGs already. Yeah. So, and that was just done with a click, and I have this selection of flowers here.
Yeah, that's so smart to have your own little PNG library set up like that.
So, and from here, I'm just going to go to my, PNG library and bringing flowers in. And as I said, I need to flip them because I know that lighting just didn't, the light was flipped. So I didn't have to look into it too deeply. I just know that it is. And when you bring your elements, you want to think about balance. As I said, you don't want too many flowers. You want to think about composition and where your eye travels. Like if you create too much noise, your eyes will be confused, and you don't want it. You want clarity. So I struggled a little bit with those, like with the roses situation, because I just had to like add, remove, and you also want to have difference in sizes. So you want like, if you have a bunch of elements and they're all the same size, it's just harder to maintain balance than if you have a little bit difference. So I also brought some extra elements, like little twiggies here and there.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, the harmony thing even goes back to those foundation things that you learn at the beginning of doing art, and how things all feel, and the size difference, and creating focus. It's also interesting because it's the things we easily forget.
100%. I remember like being in art school was so frustrating, because teachers would talk about, you know, a rhythm, the rule of thirds, the color harmony and all that stuff. And you kind of have to trust them, but you do not see it. You do not feel it. It takes time to kind of get it. And some people get it like right away. Some people are natural, or not natural, but they're a little better at figuring out this kind of stuff. It took me forever to just like kind of like 10 years later in the shower, I'm like, that thing.
Yes, that is so true. It's like all of a sudden you have some sort of real world experience with it, and it smacks you in the face when you're in the shower. I love that.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been interesting.
Yeah. And it really does, like, it becomes a feeling thing, and you'll look at a piece that you're working on and you'll just feel in somewhere in your body that there's too many roses. And it's really interesting.
But Anna, can it be really too many roses?
Never. Never too many roses.
So here I am doing this thing where, as you can see, I have like a little like pixel wide outline, which I'm trying to get rid of. You can do the selection, the shrinking the selection, but also I noticed if you just select it with control and then create a mask, it would chip away a little bit of that edge without any stuff like this. And then I can also use burn tool on my shadow setting. And you know, like when you get like tired of this, then you just want to use something which for sure works. You go to select, modify, contract one, and then it contracts my selection 1 pixel inside. And then I want to invert my selection with Shift Control I, and with black color selected, making sure that I'm on my mask, I am filling the layer with black and the edge disappears. So, or you can just, you know, paint it with a brush if you want.
Yeah, that's really helpful. And when you made these black roses, were they just dried up or did you paint them?
Oh, I painted them and then I dried them. It was a process.
Okay. Yeah, because the one has so much sheen to it. It looks like it has paint on it or something.
Yeah, it was just I played with the played with a variety of like ways to make them the way they look, and I actually really liked. I'm looking for this particular one. I really liked the way it looked when it wasn't dry. You know, it was just yeah, which is cool. I wish I had more than two, and I also played with just, you know, sort of.
Yeah. Wow, that one didn't even look real. It looked 3D or something.
Yeah. Yeah, when you have flowers in place, same deal. Let's paint some shadows so you can just, you know, create your curve layer, then go to, like, this is the shadow amount. Then I go to the mask. I click Control I to invert it to black. So now it's black. Now I pick my brush here and I paint my shadows. So here, if my shadows were a little not as soft, I would probably duplicate the flowers and you know, use their outline as a shadow first and then smudge it. But because my flowers are so big, I know that shadows are soft, so I'm not bothering with outlines and just painting it. I also like that smudge tool because, see, just now it created this kind of line, but without being too sharp. It's just a cool brush.
Yeah, I definitely need to download that one.
Yeah, Sam Nelson is such a cool artist. And then in the places of contact with the skin, I'm going to go old school and just do multiply color of skin color and add a little bit of extra darkness because contact with the skin. And again,
Fairy is wondering if you ever decrease your brush opacity when you paint your shadows.
I usually do not. I do use eraser. So I would use eraser and I will go with a soft round pressure, opacity, and flow. And because that opacity reacts on the pressure of the pen, and it kind of allows me to control the opacity through that pen pressure.
Paul said, Sasha is a painter, photographer, 3D artist, and Photoshop pro. Makes me sick.
I need to pick up more hobbies, I think.
Yeah. Become a pro at all of them. Make us all jealous.
Well, I appreciate it, Paul, but again, as I said, no one knows as much Photoshop as you do.
That is true. I feel like Paul knows all the ins and outs and secret little tools. And
I know.
I remember on the one live stream that I did with Paul, I was like, oh, can you actually show me how to do this? And then he just took over and it was great.
Oh. Yeah, he showed me libraries and I was like, what? Wait, you saying all the photos? I'm like, have to find all the time? You can just have them in the libraries?
I know, right? And I still to this day forget that that's a thing. It's like I will always pull logos or colors and have to go back to my style guide for stuff. And then I'm like, keep it in the library.
So one thing I did, I grouped all my roses and I created new layer. So again, those are my, this is the group, create a new layer, clipping it with Alt again, And I just have black selected, and I'm painting over just a little bit. I also see the color does not match perfectly, like my mine's a little more brown, or like not brown, but more desaturated. Roses, I guess, are too blue. So I'm going to add my hue saturation layer, put it in a clipping, desaturate it. Yeah, you can see almost invisible, but some blue shades go away. And one more layer, white overlay, and I'm going to paint some highlights. So white overlay just intensifies whatever was underneath. And so that's sort of it. We need a little bit more. Like you can see this rose is kind of floating because I'm missing some shadow. Maybe here too. Cool. Okay, let's move on to some other roses. How much time do we have?
We have a little under an hour.
Cool, that's perfect. And let's name this black roses. And let's pick some roses for this area.
I love the highlights on the black roses. Like it's just such a great touch.
Yeah, that's when this like aerosol spray paint was helpful.
Yes.
I feel like dry roses are very pretty too, but it's just a different, like completely dry roses are pretty too, but it's completely different aesthetic.
It gives it more of a matte look.
Yeah. Another second of shameless self-promotion. I actually have a Adobe Stock account where I have all my you know, fantasy stuff, which doesn't make it. So yeah, if you want to play with more roses,
oh wow,
go find me.
I'm glad you did that self-promotion because I will definitely be taking advantage of that.
You have no idea how much like 3D renders stays behind the scene, which just like there. I'm like, well,
yeah,
why not?
Yeah, I mean, that's so cool. There's so many people who need 3D renders like that. And I'm always looking for fun stuff to use from 3D and usually end up hiring my brother to make me things. And so that is so awesome. I'm going to take advantage of that. Yeah, Paul's like, what? Everyone's super, super stoked on your stock library.
If you need any crowns, I'm your person.
Yes. Please put all of your 3D assets in that don't make it because I will buy every single one.
It's actually been great because I'm telling you, so much stuff just goes to waste. Not waste, it just gets buried in the all the million hard drives I have.
Yeah.
And, sometimes you're like, oh yeah, I've done this one before.
Yeah, so smart.
Okay, so I'm just bringing those roses, and I do not even showing you the cutout anymore because that was, I'm telling you, that object selection was so great. It saved me so much time. I'm like, this is magic.
Yeah, it really is.
So I'm bringing those flowers just to sort of have like a blocking. And I think I'm kind of sort of happy with that. Oh, I wanted one in here. So you want one flower being big because it's almost like a center of your attention. And usually, especially with this particular composition, but there is a face in the image, and our eye instantly goes to the face. So we know that this is going to be the, point, the tension point. And this will be like maybe not center, but main focus.
I feel like I want to do this composite tonight since you gave everyone the files, and I want to like make it all glowy and dark and nighttime.
Do it. Dude, like, how I said that you never want to draw lighting, like you don't want to paint the lighting.
Yeah.
I say that because I can't do that. But every time I see your stuff, I'm like, what the hell? What happened? that was a day photo.
Oh, thank you so much. It's definitely a challenge. And sometimes, I mean, there have been so many day to night pieces that I've just tossed because it doesn't work. There's many times where it really doesn't. And that was when I got my little glow box light, which helps then kind of allowing it to be recreated. But the one that I took so much time working on, the spider on the girl's face,
Oh yeah,
and that was
I remember that one.
Fully painted from scratch. And I still to this day don't know how the heck I did that, nor how I had the patience for it.
It's crazy. I saw what you can do in the camera raw filter. Like I still like you're a queen of camera raw.
I'm gonna put that in my bio. I like that.
I'm telling you, every time I do that, I'm still like, I feel like I'm not utilizing it 100%. Like I feel like I can squeeze out more out of it, just knowing what Anna does.
Yeah, I always go in there and like paint so much stuff within the camera raw functions. And then I'm like, before, after.
So satisfying, yeah. This rose goes behind the hair. So I'm going to have a quick selection. This is example when object will not work. So just to like show you an example. It sort of did it, but then if we're really taking a look, it does this. So it doesn't work with some stuff. It's great when it has other contours. Maybe we need Paul to explain this whole thing. But I'm going to do this old school. So I'm just going to channels, picking the most contrast channel, which is blue in this case. Control A to copy the channel, Control V to paste the channel, deleting all the other stuff I don't need. And we're going to use this as my mask. So Control L, bring levels. So I know this is how much I need to get for the lightest pixels to be completely white. I'm going to
This is still honestly one of my favorite ways to cut certain things out that just don't work otherwise.
Yeah, I feel like for hair and like some trees and for certain things, it's easiest way. And here I'm using, what do you call it? Dodge tool, and on my highlights setting. Let's take a look again where the flower was. I don't even need to bother with this area here. Okay, I think this might be fine. I'm inverting it. No, I'm not inverting it. Yes, I'm inverting it. Going to channels with control, clicking with control. It selects my white stuff. I didn't need to invert it. and clicking on the flower, creating mask, and that's why I didn't need to invert it. So let's invert it again. And here I am grabbing my not dodge tool, burn tool. Sometimes things kind of get confusing and then you just like.
Yeah, I definitely deal with the same thing, like still trying to figure out which tool I want to use. It's all kind of as you're going along, you know?
Yeah. Okay, here we go. And I know this is not perfect. That's when, you know, you just paint over some hair. So I'm just selecting the this hard round pressure opacity flow. I like it the best to draw hair because it's the same thickness throughout, and but the opacity changes depending on like how the pressure of my pen. So, you know, nothing fancy, just
yeah. It already looks so good. It looks like it's tucked in those curls.
That's the goal.
Yeah, Paul said hold down Option when you create the mask and it will make the mask inverted. That's a really good tip.
Nice.
Yes.
Well, Option. I have PC here, so what would be Alt or what?
Alt. Yeah, I think Alt.
Let's see. Alt? No.
So I think it would be when you have something selected.
Yeah. It just worked. Amazing. Thank you, Paul. So yeah, you paint it like a million times here. I sometimes get tired of it, so I'm just duplicating it with Control J and just moving it a little bit. Call it good enough.
Yeah.
Let's bring the rest of the flowers in. So actually, let's do flowers one by one. I think I didn't flip this guy because I see the light coming from this side, and we remember that lighting needs to come from this side. So let's flip it. Yep. One thing I like to do when I'm compositing things, again, here, I'm sorry, I'm mentioning Paul way too many times. He would do this thing where, you know, you go to like, there's this magical new feature which you like saying they, hey, incorporate this one into this one. I'm doing it on old school where I'm bringing adjustment layer on top. It's easier to comp values on black and white image first. So I'm using it just to understand values here, creating curve, clipping it. So you can see that white is too bright. It has to be a little darker. So now it feels much more incorporated, like before, after, before, after.
Yeah.
I also sometimes like to just add extra layer and play with like just go through some blending options. I'll do some overlay, and this is with the removing saturation of that overlay layer and changing lightness a little bit, inverting my mask and painting. Like I want those dark areas to be just a little darker, and there's maybe better ways to do that. Like you can play with curves, you can play with with the raw filter.
Yeah, I feel like this is something that is a challenge to many people. I know for myself, like trying to match those color tones and the brightness and darkness, and it's almost like you can go one way and almost be there, but it's not quite right, and then you can mess it up quickly, I guess is.
Yeah, it's like it's hard to keep it balanced.
Yeah. Do you have any tips on kind of getting that proper color and lighting? I know you showed the black and white technique, and
yeah, I always do, like, I said it in my previous streams. Any image can be broken into values and colors. So, and it's actually, if you go to the blending layer, you can actually see this is, never mind, just work with them separately. It helps. So when you nail the values, just black and white image, you can go back and work only on incorporating colors. But I feel like in this case, it's a very easy case because colors, the temperature is very similar, so I didn't even have to adjust that. It's more of just value thing in here.
Cool.
So painting shadows, all the same way. I kind of want to jump after that into some other techniques. So I'm going to move on from roses to the next phase quite soon here. So I just painted some shadows, but what I don't like about them, they look kind of dark black because I just, it just requires some color. Sometimes you feel it, it's just too desaturated, and that's when you can also play with colors of the curves, not only with values. So see, I removed blue and it kind of got green. I removed green, and that's what I'm looking for. So because I lowered blue and green, it became a little bit more reddish, and that's what I wanted, because just here I guess the skin has a little bit of this red tone, and I wanted the same in my shadows. And here I'm just going to bring the same, see, I just duplicated the same curve adjustment, which I already did. I also know that when I did the sketch for this guy, I deliberately removed all the greens just because it looked better with limited color palette. So I am removing the green. So I'm desaturating green on my roses. Like, and same deal, sometimes you paint with overlay, a soft light.
Oh yeah, that looks really nice. You must have so many layers on all of your artwork. I feel like you have all these little things piled up.
It's bad. It gets bad.
And then do you leave it just all unnamed like I do? Are you a bad artist?
I am a bad artist. I group them. I group them into groups. Like
that's good.
If you look at the like that's how it looks in the end. It looks
Yeah.
all organized till you actually look inside and you're like, what the hell's going on?
Yep. I love it.
I almost never rasterize my smart objects, and it's a good and a bad thing. It makes your layers very heavy, but if you work in if you ever worked in key art industry and you ever rasterized your original photos you built your comp with, whoever is like in charge of files, they will eat you alive for that. So I'm good about it. I've been taught. I learned from my mistakes.
Yeah, I'm sure you learned so many little industry things like that while you were working at the mill. Like they must have given you all these pieces of information that you carry with you now.
I mean, when like someone runs to your desk and saying, "How did you do that? Why did you do that?"
Oh my God. Oh, yeah, that would be a lot.
Yeah, like, sorry, didn't know. But cool. So let's pretend I did all the roses. This is like pretty much that was the technique. Nothing crazy in here. And yeah, so those are my roses. As you can see, desaturated the petals, not petals, but things here. I didn't even bother with painting my hair too much, or maybe, I had it in a different separate layer. Yeah, so next thing I did, I painted some hair over some twigs to like incorporate it better. And then let's do some color correction.
Cool.
So you see this like yellow in the hair. I kind of wanted to remove it, so I'm just grabbing my selective color and dialing back yellow. And I feel like this adds so much difference just to remove yellow. Yeah. Sometimes having limited color palette is just makes so much.
And you're just doing that on top of everything, it looks like?
Yes.
Okay.
Something is happening here. Yeah, no, it's all supposed to be this way. Okay, so my selective color. Then I'm going to paint some overlay. So overlay. Actually, you know what? Not this. I want to go pick my solid color. I want to paint some, just a touch of makeup, like rouge, lips, eyes, and the center of the flowers more red. I pick this color layer so I can adjust it later. So I pick the color here, inverted my mask, switching to overlay. So
yeah, that's a really smart way to do it so it's non-destructive, because I tend to, if I were to do that, I might just paint it on a fresh layer, and that's so smart to do it that way.
And I mostly do it the same way, where I just paint it on the new layer, but this particular color will be so important that I like keeping it this way. So you see how it adds this extra detail, and because we did it the way we did, now we can adjust the color if we want to. So
oh yeah.
But I was happy with the color, so I'm not going to change it. And then let's just paint some overlay on top. I usually like painting my white overlays and black overlays separately, so I can play with the opacity of layers later. When you paint it in the same layer, it's harder to adjust separately. So I have my white, and that's again that question about brush opacity. I'm using soft round pressure opacity and flow, and because of this setting and my tablet, my opacity is 100%, but it's not really. My tablet, like I'm controlling opacity with the how much pressure I have on my pen.
This is interesting. Paul said, you're not painting with a color, you're tinting the photo and just revealing parts of it. And it's kind of cool because the way, like doing the eyeshadow, the lips, that's exactly what makeup does in real life, is like tints your skin or your lips or whatever. And so I think that helps give it the really natural look.
True. And what I'm doing with overlay right now, same deal. So overlay, when you paint with white, it intensifies all the neutral colors to brighter one. When you paint with black, it intensifies the shadows. So if you, for example, bring just neutral gray underneath my layer, this is my pretty much overlay. And it's not just adding white. Like if I switch it back to just normal, this just paints it with white. As soon as I switch it to overlay, it looks different, believe me. it will be more prominent on black. So when I'm going to paint with black overlay right now, and just sort of to intensify what I'm showing, I'm going to go full opacity. So when I'm painting, this is painting with black. So this is black overlay, and this is just normal overlay, normal. So it's not using black color. It just intensifies values and colors underneath your image. And same with white. So now I'm painting with white. You see, I'm not just painting with white. It intensifies colors and values underneath. Blending layers is a cool thing to learn. And soft white is very similar to overlay, but just a little softer, a little less intense. So I recommend playing with those.
I always love seeing it all come together at the end here with the shadows and the intensity. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's a fun, it's a very satisfying moment in the compositing process when you did all the hard work and then only this fun stuff left, and you're like, oh, this is so satisfying.
I know, it's my favorite part. And I just want someone to give me the composited files where everything is in place, and then I'll do all the painting and coloring. Like, I don't want to have to put everything together.
It's so much work.
I know. And then trying to find the images to begin with, like the stock photos and stuff. You have this idea in your head, and then it's not the right angle, or it's not the right look, or whatever.
It's a pain.
Yeah.
So one little trick I wanted to show you, like any retoucher photographer will be like, duh, like, why are you showing me this? I know this stuff. To me, I liked it a lot. So you see how if you go close, the sharpness of objects doesn't match. You have this very soft original photo, much sharper flowers. And I just want to balance out all the sharpness. So I just merged everything. I'm doing it with Shift Control Alt E. That's like when you pretended to be a piano player.
Yes. I love that. That's like the perfect way to describe it.
Then I'm duplicating it again, hiding this first layer. This one I'm converting it to smart object, and I'm blurring it just a bit. I'm blurring it to like this much. Let's do 2 pixels. And now I am grabbing my layer on top, going to image, apply image, and in here you select your not merged, but 78 copy. Ha! Switching it to subtract and duplicating those settings. I don't know why, just because. I probably, yep, I messed it up. Let's do it again. Again, not retoucher, so it takes me a second to figure out every time.
I know, me too. I always have to watch YouTube to remember how to do this every single time.
Do you remember how it called? It's something separation, pass separation.
High frequency separation.
Totally. It's so good.
Yeah, it's so good. And you would think it would be ingrained in my memory at this point, but it's not.
Oh, someone has to like make one button out of it rather than, you know, a million things.
I know. I wonder if you could make an action for it. You probably could.
Yeah, but then you kind of need to name all the layers properly, like, you know.
That's true.
You can pick up the, maybe you can. Yeah, there are probably ways. Anyway, that's how it's supposed to look like. And you switch it to linear light, something like that. Yep. So in the end, those 2 layers should look exactly like your original image, which is correct. So, and this is pretty much your texture, and this is your color. So retouchers usually go here and, you know, duplicating this layer, adding more softness to it, whatever, and painting, like removing all the blemishes and stuff. We don't have it. We have very already retouched nice image. So we are using it to control our sharpness. So I'm going to duplicate my texture layer again. You see what it does? It just adds this extra texture. I just like to keep original one. And I'm going to my blur tool and just add softness to the places where I need to, when the sharpness just doesn't match. And you totally can do just, you know, that without this whole pass separation thing, but it's just a little extra. I try to do it just on the image, and sometimes I'm losing, it just blurs too much.
Right. Holly said there is an action for it.
Great.
That is good to know.
Yep.
So you are okay.
Oh, something happened here. Well, sorry about that. There's not supposed to be double flowers like this. And then I grab this extra one, creating mask, inverting mask, and because I know this is my center of attention, and I'm adding extra sharpness to it. So. Frequency separation method, super cool. Check it out.
Yeah.
And that would be it. Let me remove whatever happened there with this whole.
Oh yeah, the black. Ah.
Yeah. So those were my color correction and overlays. This is fast separation. So again.
Wow.
And now final effects and artistic stuff. So what I did here, I did camera filter.
Yes.
I didn't go far with that because I just don't know how.
Hey, well, sometimes just a little touch is all it needs.
Yes. I just removed a little texture, added a little clarity and vibrance in here. And I think I maybe played a little bit color mixer, just a touch. So before and after, and thanks to that clarity, like all those highlights just start popping more. And I removed texture because our image is so soft. I wanted to preserve that softness. And then I used blur gallery. So here pretty much you just go to filter, blur gallery. And I created this like vignette iris blur, just a little bit, nothing crazy, 7 pixel radius. And this pretty much is complete. And after that, I just go crazy about color filters. So what I do, I grab color filter, jump through.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, jump through every filter, kind of like, hey, I like a little bit of this, but it's always goes so far. So I'm like dialing it back, duplicating it, and go through another filter. So I feel like it's a great way to create a feel when you don't know where you're going, what you're going for. So yeah, after all my color filters, I got this result. And played, removed cyan a little bit, and that's it.
It's so amazing. And I love too with the color lookup, like you can go in so many different directions. Each one that you click look good,
Yes, it's hard to pick one. It's
yeah.
Like you want to pick them all, and that's what I end up doing. I'm like, I can't decide. I like them all. Like, let's do 20% of that, 5% of that.
Yep, exactly. It looks so incredible. I absolutely love it.
I think I was always ended a little earlier. So if anyone has any questions, or like if we want to go through some tools or like comp something really fast,
let us know in the chat if there's anything that you want to see, if there was something maybe that Sasha did that you want to go over again. We have a little under 20 minutes. 10 minutes. I'm like, what time is it?
I know.
Yeah, this looks so amazing.
Thank you.
Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything. Someone asked, can you show the 3D of the tendrils? The vines, maybe?
Yeah. So.
And then Akib wants to know, what is your favorite movie poster?
Ooh, this is a loaded question. My favorite movie poster, like, actually, guys, if you're curious, there's a site which is stupid ugly, called Imp Awards, and this is weirdly a professional site where you can see all the releases and all the movie posters for everything. So this is all the new movie posters, this is all television updates. I know it looks crazy, but like anything you can find here. Like, this is a great site. So
yeah, that's really cool.
My favorite movie posters, what's also cool about them, they have their own award, like annual awards, and that's how I can find, like, let's see, overall best movie. Oh, Spencer, this is so beautiful. See, like, instantly, like,
wow. Wow.
Yeah. And who were the nominees?
Worst movie poster.
Oh, that's always fun.
Oh, that Dune one, it's amazing. I love that.
Good.
Mm.
Yeah. So you can get completely lost in here because it's a rabbit hole.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check this out.
Yeah. And about the movie poster stuff.
Also, Paul is wondering what our opinions are on machine learning, like the Dolly and Midjourney, the new AI programs.
I think it's really cool. I think it's. I'm planning to play with that a little more. I kind of started, but didn't have like time yet for that. I think it's a cool extra element you can explore. At least for now, I don't think it's something which can completely substitute, art. But
right.
I feel like, this artist Necro. I'm going to take a look on my Instagram. He was such a great example of how to do it right. So this guy.
Oh, wow.
I love him. He is freaking fantastic. But yeah, like, he used elements from Midjourney, and you see, and
yeah,
just composited them in his own style. So you can still see that it's his style, like 100% his style, but he uses it just as a new tool.
I love that. Like, that's so cool. I think that's a great way to use it to kind of incorporate it into your work.
Yeah. So I love, here's an example. I'm like so blown away by this guy.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
To look this up too. I have a list of all the things that I have to look up. So cool.
I'm still thinking about my favorite movie poster. This is such a like.
I know, you might have to come back to us tomorrow with that one.
Yeah, that will be my shower moment.
Yes, exactly. It will hit you. Oh, that's it.
Totally. And just a reminder for you guys, tomorrow, I don't have anything prepped. That was intentional. We're going to sort of go from completely scratch, zero. So if you have some thoughts on what you want to see, like even maybe not in terms of techniques, but the subject, and like just throw a theme into the chat, and we will pick one and we'll just go with that. So from the ground zero, from going with all the diving into Adobe Stock rabbit hole and picking good photos to go with, and we'll hopefully make something interesting by the end of the stream.
Yeah, that sounds great. And if anybody has any ideas for tomorrow's stream right now, feel free to put them into the chat and I will take notes so that we can bring them up tomorrow, even if you're not going to be here tomorrow. And yeah, I'm excited to see what you're going to create. It's going to be really fun. I'll have to throw some ideas in there as well.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous, but that's when magic happens.
Yes, absolutely. See,
I'm just, we'll take this time to keep dazzling you guys with the artist I admire.
Yes. Sam asked from YouTube, how would someone start to learn Photoshop? Is there a book or just videos? I actually have a Photoshop for beginners course. I'll do some self-promotion of my own.
Good job.
And it's for absolute beginners. If you've never opened Photoshop before, it will teach you everything you need to know to start compositing or designing. But yeah, I feel like YouTube, I don't know. What are your thoughts on learning from the beginning?
I feel like there is a Photoshop channel or something like that. It was great. I don't remember. It's been a while. But hey, Adobe Live.
Yes, exactly. Adobe Live is a great source for learning. And then Aaron Nace from Flern, his videos are all incredible from beginner to pro. Also, Jesus Ramirez on Photoshop Training Channel. Those are some really good sources. And just a little YouTube search, how to get started in Photoshop. That's always School of YouTube, right?
Yep. Talking about favorite artists and posters, there's this lady, Akiko, and I can't pronounce her last name, talking about people with hard last names. So she is a legend of poster industry. So she is fantastic, and she has such a brilliant sense of humor, but also great aesthetic. And she's one of the best.
Yeah, those are so cool. I love the simplicity.
Yep.
Amazing. And then not sure if we have time for you to show the 3D aspect of just kind of quickly.
Oh, here it is. As you can see, I just had my sketch there on the background and my sort of 3D model, which approximately matches what I had there. And those are just spline wraps.
Yeah, that's really cool. And if you were to make the vines from scratch in Photoshop, I know you kind of mentioned this when we got started, would you maybe like draw those lines out and then add in the texture, or would you be getting stock vines from Adobe Stock and then kind of twisting them into place?
I would go the second one because I can paint a shadow, but I'm not a painter. And I feel like the first one requires you have to really be good at painting. I would rather find some twigs with the lighting I need and just use puppeting and warping to put it in place where I need it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea, to use twigs and stuff to kind of build it out. And yeah, I'm always curious about that because I've seen people where they'll draw a shape, like maybe a mountain or something, and then they will add texture onto it to start building the rocks. Whereas I'm always like, I will find the mountain from Adobe Stock that I want to use, put it in place, and then cut it out. But it's kind of, I
feel like there's no right or wrong. It's whatever you get best results with. So I would say try both ways and see which one looks better.
Marsha asked, is I think referring to Cinema, but wondering what your preferred software is.
I use Cinema. Yes. Blender is good too. Any software is good, really. Like, it doesn't matter. I also like ZBrush. ZBrush is a little bit more like clay, but it's extra tool to your main software. Substance Painter is great too.
Yes.
But that's more for textures when you already have a model and you want to like nail that texture, the right look. It's Substance Painter sometimes, like, this is something I know, like I use in my workflow, but when you see masters of it, just blows my mind. Just wanted to find an artist I follow. Again, I'm just showing people the artist I like.
No, this is great, because get some good inspiration too. I wonder if you could make the vines in Painter, like if you had the basic line work or model of the vines, maybe add the texture.
Oh yeah, you totally can do that with the texture, because there is bark materials which already exist, and you can just apply it there and use some displacement, and it's going to be good.
Nice. Paul's wondering where you get 3D models aside from Adobe Stock.
You model them.
Yes.
For human models, I use Does 3D. It's a free software with a human models. Like, you have to do some extra work, but it's a great, like, posing. I'm just opening it again. It's free. Yeah.
That's cool. Is that kind of what you're using for those ones that you showed us earlier of the new work you're doing, where they're very human based?
Yeah.
There's so many programs. How do people keep up with it?
Don't know. Still looking for that artist. Oh, here you are. So this artist is a freaking master of Substance Painter.
Wow.
I know. It's like, dude, come on. This is just ridiculous. But he's also so good with just shapes and sculpting. Just brilliant dude.
Oh my God. So these are 3D models that he's painting in Substance.
Yes. So this is obviously the same model with different textures.
That is crazy. Oh my God,
Substance.
they look like photos.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Oh my God. It's funny because you might see something like that on social media. Maybe it comes up like on Instagram Explore page, and you scroll right past it because it just looks like a photo. And then here to know that all of these are created from scratch. Unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. Like, the fidelity of it is just incredible. So,
wow.
Obviously there are so many good artists, but I feel like I personally like his Substance Painter work the best.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I would think it's just someone's junk on eBay or something. I would never realize that it's this incredible artwork.
Someone's junk, which looks like, I don't know, 8th century BC.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's like some super famous fine art ancient piece.
Yeah. But yeah.
Cool. David said, can you make a Ben Zank or Briscoe Park type photo? I don't know if that's for tomorrow.
What's that?
A Ben Zank or Briscoe Park type photo.
I will need to Google that.
Yes, I am familiar with both of them, but I'm not sure. I'm going to take note on that here. And okay, we got another note for tomorrow. Marsha
From
says
Tarkovsky, Stalker. Cool.
Yeah, that would be super cool. Okay.
Yeah, keep those thoughts. We will come back to them tomorrow.
Yes.
But also, just something more like we will see what's going to be there in the end, and we'll pick something, but something surreal, something like,
Yeah,
with a
it will be.
twist.
I know. I'm excited. I think it'll be really fun. So be sure to join us for day 2 of Photoshop compositing tomorrow with Sasha, and we will be taking all of your suggestions for anything that you want to be creating. And so stick around. Where is my stuff here? I'm trying to say. Stick around following the creative challenge with Kevin Kraft coming up for graphic design live stream, following along as he shares his design process and watches Kevin starts from a brief, designs a mood board, creates logo vectors, and establishes brand colors as a company. So we'll be back tomorrow. Thank you everyone so much for watching, and we will see you all tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. Take care. Have a great day.
Bye guys.